The city's pulse, a low thrum against the soles of your boots, fades with each measured step you take into the sterile quiet. Your coat, a familiar weight on your shoulders, feels heavier tonight, a testament to the hours carved from sleep, etched into the lines around your eyes. Cole. That's who you are, a name whispered by shadows, etched into the annals of the city's forgotten crimes. Weariness clings to you, a persistent fog, yet beneath it, a flinty resolve burns, a quiet fire that refuses to yield. Another call, another impossible riddle spun by unseen hands. You navigate the pristine corridors of the offshore law office with shred bins and locked safes. The air here is thin, recycled, carrying the faint metallic scent of ozone and the ghost of expensive paper. Marble floors gleam under recessed lighting, reflecting the precise angles of the walls, a cold, geometric perfection that screams of secrets meticulously kept. Locked safes, steel monoliths, stand sentinel in alcoves, their formidable presence a silent promise of security, or perhaps of what should have been secure. A colleague, a younger investigator whose enthusiasm still possesses an untarnished edge, meets you at the entrance to the main server room. His face, usually animated, is a mask of bewildered frustration. "Cole," he begins, his voice hushed. "You won't believe this." You offer a single knowing nod, a silent invitation for him to continue. Your gaze sweeps past him, absorbing the scene. The server room itself is a cathedral of blinking lights and humming machinery, an orchestra of digital life. Rows of racks filled with the gleaming silver and black boxes of data storage stretch towards the ceiling. Cables, a vibrant tangle of blues, greens, and yellows, snake across the floor, converging into thick arteries that feed the network. No alarms, no forced entry, no physical trace. Your eyes narrow, scanning the floor, the walls, the ceiling. Not a speck of dust disturbed. No scuff marks on the polished tile, no pry marks on the heavy reinforced door, no shattered glass, no severed wires. The security cameras you note are all intact, their lenses staring blankly, silently recording nothing amiss. This isn't a smash and grab. This isn't even a subtle lockpicking. A masterpiece of the nascent digital age, housed here, in this fortress of corporate anonymity, for its unparalleled security. Or so they thought. Exactly, the colleague confirms, running a hand through his already disheveled hair. Our security expert is tearing his hair out. Says it's impossible. No data breach detected, no external access logs. The internal network shows no unusual activity. It's like it just dissolved. You move closer to the empty space where the Chrysalis Fragment was displayed. A high-resolution holographic projector specifically designed for its unique light signature now projects only the faint, shimmering patterns of its standby mode. The pedestal, a sleek minimalist design, is untouched. You run a gloved finger along its smooth, cool surface. Nothing. No residue, no fingerprint, not even a microscopic scratch. What about the power logs, you ask, your voice low, cutting through the hum of the servers? Any microsurges? Any brief, anomalous drops? The colleague shakes his head. Nothing out of the ordinary. The power grid here is redundant, triple-backed. It's pristine. You squat, examining the network cables leading to the projector's console. They are standard, high-grade fiber optic, neatly bundled. But something catches your eye. A subtle, almost imperceptible detail. One of the thick bundles, usually tightly bound with a specific type of industrial zip tie, seems ever so slightly looser than the others. A minute displacement, barely a hair's breadth, but enough to register in your trained perception. Your gaze drifts across the room, past the whirring servers, towards the heavy steel door that marks the exit. And I want every access log, every single ping from this room for the last 72 hours. Internal and external. I don't care if it's a security drone's diagnostic check or a technician's lunch break entry. Everything. The colleague nods, already moving towards a workstation. You circle the empty display area again, your mind sifting through the layers of the impossible. No forced entry, no digital breach, yet a priceless digital asset is gone. This isn't just a theft. It's an act of defiance against logic itself. The subtle looseness of the cable bundle, however, gnaws at you. It suggests a physical interaction, however brief, however expertly masked. Then you see it. It's no larger than an eyelash, shimmering with an unnatural, almost synthetic sheen. It's not from the carpet, nor from any clothing you've seen worn by the staff. It's alien to this pristine, sterile environment. This is the reveal, a tangible fragment of the unseen hand that orchestrated this impossible vanishing act. A thread of light, a digital ghost left behind. The tension in the room, already palpable, tightens around you. This isn't an isolated incident, your gut tells you. This is the opening gambit in a game far larger, far more intricate than anyone yet suspects. The silence of the gallery presses in, heavier than any vault door. Your gaze drifts across the polished plinth, an altar now devoid of its digital deity. The air, conditioned to preserve unseen relics, hums with unspoken questions. No trace, no residue, no whisper of forced entry. Only the ghost of a masterpiece, a canvas of pure light and code, now utterly erased. Still nothing, Cole? The voice of your colleague, a low rumble, breaks the spell. He stands by a console, fingers dancing across a keyboard, a futile ballet against an invisible enemy. Every log file, every network packet, scrubbed cleaner than a surgeon's blade. Something was here. Something is gone. Yet the universe didn't ripple. For days, the team has chased phantoms, reviewing surveillance footage that showed nothing, interrogating security personnel who saw nothing, sifting through digital forensics that yielded nothing but perfect emptiness. The conventional tools of your trade feel like blunt instruments against a foe made of pure thought. The weight of the impossible presses down. This wasn't a smash and grab. This wasn't even a sophisticated hack in the traditional sense. It was a vanishing act, executed with a precision that bordered on the ethereal. Then, the shrill, insistent ring of your secure line shatters the quiet. You pull the device from your pocket. The caller ID, a string of numbers from a city 1,000 miles away. This isn't a routine update. Brennan, you answer, your voice taut. The voice on the other end, an agent from another jurisdiction, is clipped, strained. We have another one, Cole, just like yours. The ephemeral cascade gone. From the Nouveau Museum in Viridian City. Same impossible circumstances. No alarms, no breach, just the knot in your stomach tightens, transforming into something sharper, more defined. Description? You ask, though you already know. Digital projection, infinite loop, valued at. The agent names a figure that makes your breath catch. Another priceless piece, another ghost. The confirmation crashes over you, a wave of grim certainty. This isn't an isolated incident. This isn't a fluke. This is a pattern. A meticulous, audacious pattern woven into the fabric of the impossible. 2 cities, 2 continents, 2 masterpieces of digital art, stolen without a trace. The stakes, once confined to the realm of cultural heritage, now escalate into something far more sinister. This isn't about collecting art. It's about something deeper, something with a ripple effect far beyond the aesthetic. You end the call, your mind racing, connecting the disparate threads. The sheer audacity, the technical prowess required to bypass every layer of security, both physical and digital, without leaving a single footprint. This wasn't the work of mere thieves. This was a statement, a demonstration. Another one? You tell your colleague, the words heavy. He looks up, his face grim, already anticipating the implications. Viridian City, same MO, an ephemeral cascade vanished. He pushes away from the console, standing. Two of the most secure digital art installations on the planet. Gone. Impossible. Impossible for us. You correct him, your voice hardening with resolve. But not for them. And that means we're looking at something far beyond art theft. These aren't just pretty pictures. These are assets. Liquid, untraceable assets, now in unknown hands. The pieces begin to click, forming a mosaic of insidious intent. The value of these digital works isn't just in their artistic merit, but in their fungibility, their existence solely as data. If you can steal a digital masterpiece without a trace, what else can you steal? What else can you manipulate? You return to your office, the sterile walls offering no comfort. You pull up financial reports, cross-referencing the owners of the stolen art, tracing their corporate affiliations, their investment portfolios. The ephemeral Cascade was recently acquired by a holding company with a notoriously opaque structure, headquartered in a jurisdiction known for its financial secrecy. A single critical detail from the Viridian City incident report, initially dismissed as mundane, now flares with significance. A minor, unlogged network anomaly detected on a peripheral server at the museum, originating from an IP address that briefly pinged a known nexus of shell corporations. I want to know everything about their clients, their recent activities, and if a single pixel of our stolen art has passed through their digital ledgers. The journey is swift, fueled by a simmering urgency. Its anonymity is its armor. Inside, the air is cool, heavy with the scent of paper and stale coffee. The lobby is sparse, the receptionist's smile practiced and devoid of warmth. You navigate the labyrinthine corridors, guided by the address, towards a specific suite. The door, when you reach it, is locked, a brass plaque stating the name of the opaque holding company. A quick call to your contact confirms a search warrant is being expedited. While you wait, your eyes scan the hallway. A cleaning cart sits abandoned nearby, its contents mundane. But then you notice it. A large, industrial-grade shred bin overflowing with a confetti of paper, positioned just outside the suite's door. It's unusual, not in a general waste area, but right here. You lean closer, a sense of unease blossoming. Among the blizzard of shredded documents, a sliver of something distinct catches your eye. A fragment of a glossy print, too thick, too vibrant for standard legal documents. It's barely larger than your thumbnail, but the colors, the texture, are unmistakable. A detail, a mere shard of what could have been a financial prospectus, but one that once held an image of an intricate digital design, a pattern of swirling light. A pattern eerily similar to the ephemeral Cascade. This isn't just about stolen art anymore. It's about the financial conduits, the hidden transactions, the intricate web spun to leverage these digital ghosts for a purpose yet unknown, but one that promises to unravel the very foundations of the market. The game has changed, Cole. Fee. You step deeper into the hushed interior, your gaze sweeping across the polished marble floors, reflecting the sterile glow of recessed lighting. The air, thin and cool, whispers of secrets kept. Each door, a dark lacquered slab, seems to guard its own silence, its own carefully filed truths. Your fingers trace the cool steel of a shred bin, its maw hungry for documents that once held weight. Locked safes gleam dully behind thick, frosted glass in the back office, impenetrable fortresses for paper trails. No hurried movements, no stray coffee cups, no overlooked sticky notes betray a recent, frantic departure. This place is a monument to efficient erasure, a pristine tomb where information goes to die a quiet, legal death. The physical world here offers no immediate purchase, no tangible thread to pull. It was about the ether, the unseen currents of data that flow beneath the surface of this quiet facade. The path ahead is not paved with footprints in dust, but with echoes in code. You turn from the silent office, a metallic taste of frustration on your tongue. The city's pulse throbs around you as you drive. a counterpoint to the quiet desperation building within. Your mind races, sifting through names, faces, a mental Rolodex of those who spoke in lines of command and logic. You find the cyber forensics expert not in a gleaming office, but tucked away in the labyrinthine heart of the city's oldest district. Above a ramen shop, a flickering neon sign casts a sickly green glow onto the rain-slicked alley below. The door, unpainted and scuffed, opens onto a narrow staircase reeking of stale incense and forgotten dreams. Inside, the space is a chaotic symphony of screens and wires. 3 monitors glow with an arcane script of data streams, illuminating the expert's face in a shifting mosaic of blues and greens. Their fingers, long and nimble, dance across a customized keyboard, a blur of motion. The air is thick with the hum of processors and the faint scent of ozone. Cole Brennan, you state, your voice cutting through the digital drone. The expert turns, eyes sharp and intelligent, meeting yours. A weary sigh escapes them. Another ghost in the shell, seeking salvation from the digital underworld, I presume. Their tone is laced with a weary cynicism, a reluctance born of too many impossible tasks. I don't do corporate espionage anymore. Too many gray hats, too few clear answers. This isn't corporate espionage, you counter, stepping further into the room, your determination a tangible force. This is art, stolen. And something far larger, I suspect. It's a systemic rot, not just a petty theft. You lay out the bare bones of the heist, the precision, the invisibility. A flicker of interest sparks in their eyes. They lean back, a thoughtful frown creasing their brow. Art? But the price of my curiosity, detective, is steep. And my patience. A finite resource. We'll pay, you assure them, your gaze unwavering. And I won't waste your time. Finally, they nod, a curt, almost imperceptible movement. All right, Cole, show me your ghosts. Let's see what specters haunt your servers. You hand over the encrypted files, the digital fingerprints lifted from the remnants of the heists. Lines of code scroll, decrypting, analyzing, their speed mesmerizing. You watch, transfixed as layers peel back, revealing the intricate architecture of the stolen data. Minutes stretch into an hour, then 2. The air grows heavy with unspoken tension. Their brow furrows deeper, their lips pressed into a thin line. Finally, they lean back, a low whistle escaping their lips. This is not amateur hour, Cole. They begin, their voice hushed with a new respect, a touch of awe. This isn't off-the-shelf encryption. This is bespoke. Highly advanced, proprietary. It's like trying to pick a lock that reinvents itself with every turn of the tumbler. Your heart clenches. Meaning, the expert explains, their eyes fixed on a glowing segment of code. This wasn't built by a lone wolf in a basement. This demands resources, dedicated teams, top-tier talent, significant investment. We're talking about a well-funded, organized group. Think state-sponsored, or a corporate entity with virtually unlimited capital and no ethical boundaries. The scope of the operation widens, vast and terrifying. This is not just about a few stolen digital paintings. This is about power, wielded with a terrifying precision. The expert continues to delve, their focus absolute, their gaze piercing through the digital veil. Then, a sudden sharp intake of breath. A digital signature, like a watermark, but woven into the very fabric of the encryption's unique algorithm. They zoom in, displaying a pattern, a mathematical elegance that seems almost artistic in its complexity. It's not a direct identifier, not a name or a company logo, but it's distinct, like a dialect in a global language. What kind of dialect? You press, leaning closer, your breath catching in your throat. It's a specific kind of algorithmic optimization, they explain, their voice tight with concentration. A signature often found in Advanced distributed ledger technologies. Blockchain infrastructure, but not the public, open-source kind. This is the kind of underlying architecture used in highly secure private networks. The kind developed by firms specializing in secure, high-speed financial transactions or next-generation data storage for massive, sensitive datasets. The implication hangs heavy in the air. A specific tech sector, not just any programmers, but those at the bleeding edge of secure, distributed systems. The very architects of the future's financial backbone. The tension in the small, cluttered room vibrates. A palpable hum. This wasn't just a heist. It was a surgical strike, executed by ghosts with deep pockets and an intimate knowledge of the very systems they sought to exploit. The game, you realize, has just begun to reveal its true, horrifying scale. The hum of the precinct's fluorescent lights, usually a dull drone, now grates against your awareness. A high-pitched whine in the aftermath of revelation. Secure, distributed systems. The words echo. A cold promise of a new kind of war. This isn't about paint on canvas or a stolen sculpture. It's about the very architecture of reality, digitized, vulnerable. Your mind, a relentless engine, sifts through the data, the faces, the whispers. Your old burner phone, a relic you keep for these precise moments, feels heavy in your palm. You recall the informant's twitchy eyes, their perpetual state of hypervigilance. A creature of pure, unadulterated fear. A perfect conduit for the currents you now seek to tap. Then a click. A voice, raspy and thin, a dry leaf rustling on a forgotten path. Cole. The programmers. It's connected, isn't it? A sharp intake of breath on the other end. A sound like a small animal caught in a snare. Always connected, Cole. Everything's a thread. But this is different. Bigger. The words are punctuated by a nervous cough, a quick glance away, even though you're only connected by an invisible thread of signal. You can picture them, hunched over a flickering screen, fingers dancing, eyes darting. Different how? You press, your heart a steady drum against your ribs. The air around you thickens, charged with the informant's palpable anxiety. Ghosts in the machine, Cole. That's what they're calling them. Untraceable. Invisible. They move the pieces, shift the markets. Not just art, everything. They're building something, or tearing it down. The global ledger. Think of the ripples, Cole. The waves. Everything you know. Everything that holds value. It's just a number they can change. Your breath catches. Financial markets? You're talking about a collapse? Not a collapse, no. The informant corrects. A strange, almost manic energy in their voice now. A reordering. They're stealing the future, Cole. Not just the data, but the belief in the data. The trust. They're making it all dance to their tune. And the ones who see it, who understand the code, the ones who could stop it, they disappear. A sudden sharp crackle tears through the line, a sound like glass shattering in a distant room. The informant's voice hitches, a strangled gasp. They're here. They know I. The line goes dead. Not a disconnect, not a hang-up. A sudden, violent termination. Your hand tightens around the phone, knuckles white. The world around you seems to sharpen, its edges suddenly honed. Dangerous. The very conduits through which illicit wealth flows and identities dissolve. The building, a monolithic structure of smoked glass and polished chrome, looms under a bruised sky. The reception area is deserted, save for a lone security guard, eyes glazed over, lost in the blue glow of a screen. You move like a phantom, your presence unnoticed, a ghost among the living. The office Cole seeks, according to the cryptic IP trace the informant's last known connection hinted at, is on the 3rd floor. You find the door, its brass plate gleaming with a generic, unmemorable name. Inside, the space is immaculate, almost clinically so. Desks are wiped clean, chairs perfectly aligned. But beneath the veneer of order, a subtle disarray hums. You run your hand over a desktop. A faint rectangular imprint suggests a device once sat there, now gone. The scent of ozone, sharp and metallic, lingers in the air, a ghost of recent electronic activity. These aren't your standard crosscut models. These are industrial-grade pulverizers, designed to turn paper into indecipherable confetti. Yet a single minuscule scrap, no bigger than a fingernail, adheres stubbornly to the lip of one bin. You pluck it free. On it, a partial letter, C, followed by a blurred number, 007. Then, the locked safes. 3 of them built into the wall, their steel doors gleaming. Not standard office safes, but secure vaults. 2 stand slightly ajar, their interiors empty, scoured clean. No dust, no lingering scent of old paper or metal. They've been emptied with precision, leaving no trace. The 3rd, however, remains stubbornly shut. An abandoned entry, perhaps, or a clue intentionally left behind. What secrets are locked within? What fragment of the global ledger or the shifting markets might it hold? They're not just stealing art. They're erasing the very proof of their existence, piece by meticulous piece. And you, Cole Brennan, are now standing in the ruins of their careful demolition. The line goes dead. Not a disconnect, not a hang-up. A sudden, violent termination, a severing of breath and signal, leaving only a vast, echoing silence. It is not empty, this silence. It is immense, reverberating with the informant's last, desperate words, with the implicit brutality of their silencing. Your hand tightens around the phone, knuckles white, the plastic digging into your palm, a dull ache blooming. The world tilts on its axis, not with a jolt, but with a slow, sickening lurch. The ledger. They are not just words. They are anchors, sinking deep into the murky waters of your investigation, pulling you towards an unseen truth. Someone is watching. Someone is listening. Someone is cleaning house. This is no longer merely about stolen canvases or digital theft. You recall a forgotten detail, a minor anomaly from an earlier, seemingly unrelated cyber trail, an obscure IP address, flagged once for anomalous activity, then dismissed as a phantom. Now it screams significance. The address leads you to a building of polished steel and smoked glass, a monolith against the city's restless skyline. The air inside is cool, sterile, scented with a faint metallic tang of ozone and old paper. The receptionist, a woman with eyes that betray nothing, directs you with a practiced, detached politeness. You navigate the labyrinthine corridors, each door a polished veneer, each office a silent chamber. The hum of industrial shredders vibrates faintly through the walls, a constant low thrum, like a monstrous unseen beast chewing on secrets. The sound is a confirmation, a subtle affirmation of the informant's last words. They are destroying something here, systematically, relentlessly. You find the specific suite, the one linked to the rogue IP address, now a scene of ordered chaos. 2 clerks, their faces impassive, feed reams of documents into hungry machines. A small, leather-bound ledger, half hidden beneath a discarded legal brief, catches your eye. Its cover is unadorned, save for a single embossed symbol. A stylized, interlocking knot, reminiscent of ancient Celtic designs, yet rendered with a stark, modern precision. Your fingers brush against it, a faint tremor running through you. This symbol, you realize, is not unknown to you. You've seen it before, a faint watermark on a digitally stolen masterpiece, a signature on an encrypted data packet, dismissed then as mere branding. Now it sings with meaning. You open the ledger. The pages within are a meticulous record, not of traditional currency, but of something far more ephemeral, yet terrifyingly real. Entries detail transactions in newly minted digital currencies, obscure and volatile, their values fluctuating wildly on unlisted exchanges. The pieces click into place, an intricate mechanism suddenly revealing its horrifying purpose. The art was never the final target. It was a means, a conduit. The paintings, meticulously stolen, were not merely being sold on the black market. They were being tokenized, their inherent value, their provenance, their very existence, transformed into digital collateral. This artificial value tied to masterpieces was then injected into these nascent digital currencies, inflating them, giving them a false, volatile legitimacy. You flip through the ledger, the scale of the operation slowly unfurling before you. Each stolen piece, a brushstroke in a colossal, destructive masterpiece. The high-tech art heists, once isolated incidents, now coalesce into a single, terrifying strategy. They are not merely laundering money. They are creating it, out of thin air, out of stolen beauty, using it to manipulate global financial markets. The Baroque sculpture, spirited away from a European gallery, now a line item, artificially propping up Griffin Ledger Inc., one of the unknown investment firms listed in the ledger. The art isn't sold. It's a financial weapon, a key forged in the crucible of theft, used to unlock a catastrophic collapse. The hum of the shredders intensifies, a hungry, rhythmic gnawing. You are no longer just investigating art theft. The tension in the room is a living thing, a coiled viper ready to strike. You have found the web, Cole, and now you must unravel it before it consumes everything. It presses in, a physical weight against your eardrums echoing the informant's final, ragged gasp. A cold dread coils in your gut, not for yourself, but for the stark brutality of that termination. It speaks of an unseen hand, swift and merciless, silencing truth before it fully takes breath. You retrace the digital breadcrumbs, the scant, fragmented data that led to the informant. Their last, desperate words, garbled and cut short, pointed to a specific type of financial transaction, a phantom limb of capital extending across borders. It is a signature, faint but distinct, of the very mechanism that now chokes the global market. Your fingers dance across the holographic interface, the screens before you a tapestry of flickering numbers and names, searching for the nexus, the point of origin for this financial contagion. The building itself is a study in calculated nondescriptness. You stand before it, the ocean wind whipping at your coat, carrying the tang of salt and the distant cry of gulls. The air here, even miles from any true shore, feels charged with the quiet hum of immense, untraceable money. You employ a specific code, a digital key gleaned from the informant's fragmented data, a backdoor left ajar in the vast network of security. The lock clicks with a soft, almost apologetic sigh. The reception area is stark, devoid of personal touches, a minimalist temple to corporate discretion. You move through the hushed corridors, your footsteps absorbed by thick, sound-dampening carpet. The only sound is the low, persistent hum of unseen servers, and occasionally, the rhythmic grind of a shredder from behind a closed door, a constant, hungry gnawing at secrets. Your gaze sweeps over the names on office doors, a litany of shell corporations, holding companies, and trusts, each a layer in a vast, impenetrable onion. The informant's fragmented message had mentioned a specific suite, a particular set of files, a silent, swift bypass, a ghost in the machine, and the door swings open. A large, empty desk of polished steel gleams under recessed lighting. Along one wall, floor-to-ceiling shelves house rows of thick, leather-bound ledgers and sleek, metallic data drives. And there, near the desk, two imposing shred bins, their maw-like openings hinting at a voracious appetite for incriminating evidence. You begin your search, a methodical sweep of the digital archives, bypassing the overt security. The data is labyrinthine, encrypted, fragmented across multiple servers, but you possess the key, the ghost of the informant's last breath guiding your hand. You piece together threads, correlating transaction IDs with corporate registrations, cross-referencing IP addresses with acquisition records. You uncover a relentless, quiet campaign of acquisition. Failing tech startups, once vibrant with innovation, now mere husks, are being systematically absorbed by Ether Global. The details are buried deep within complex financial statements, disguised as legitimate investments, but the underlying mechanism is clear. Digital assets, once valueless, suddenly see their valuations surge after acquisition, only to plummet again, leaving a wake of investor ruin. Then you find them, the anomalies. Internal memos, redacted but not entirely erased, mentioning specific financial analysts. These are not the usual market prognosticators, but individuals who dared to question the inexplicable fluctuations, the sudden artificial spikes and crashes. Others simply vanish from the corporate records, their digital footprints erased with terrifying efficiency. Discredited. It orchestrates the collapse, not merely profiting from it, but actively engineering the very conditions for economic disaster. The art heists, the stolen digital assets. They are mere fuel for this engine of destruction, a means to accelerate the market's unraveling. You feel a prickling sensation on the back of your neck, a phantom presence. You are not alone in this revelation. You are standing on the precipice of a truth too dangerous to fully comprehend. You extract the critical data, a trove of encrypted files and decoded reports, securing it onto a hardened drive. The scent of ozone from the shredders seems to intensify, a subtle warning. The pieces fit, forming a terrifying mosaic. Ether Global. The name now resonates with a sinister authority. The metallic tang of fear touches your tongue, a phantom taste of the violence you couldn't prevent. Their digital prowess, their quiet brilliance, now more crucial than ever. You dial, fingers stiff, each ring a hammer blow against the quiet of your secured chamber. No answer. A second attempt, then a third. The automated voice of the network offers only polite indifference. You move, a phantom in the hushed corridors of the facility, your strides long and purposeful. The analyst's secure digital lab is a sanctuary of blinking lights and humming servers, a place where the invisible architecture of the web is made visible. But tonight, as you approach, a faint, acrid scent, like burnt ozone and metallic dust, prickles your nostrils. The access panel, usually a seamless sheet of reinforced steel, shows a faint spiderweb crack radiating from the biometric scanner. A thin line of residue, almost imperceptible, smears the edge of the frame. The door yields with a sigh, revealing a scene of controlled chaos. Cables, usually neatly bundled, lie snaked across the floor. Monitors glow with fractured data, lines of code scrolling in indecipherable patterns, some frozen, others cycling through corrupted files. The air conditioning, typically a steady drone, struggles, pushing stale, heated air. And then you see it. The analyst's chair overturned, a single discarded data chip its surface etched with the distinctive mark of Ether Global gleaming under a stray beam of light. The analyst is gone, vanished. The meticulous order of their world shattered, a silent scream frozen in the digital ether. They have touched your people. They have stepped into your circle. You lift the discarded chip, its weight negligible, yet its implications immense. This wasn't a random act. It was a message, delivered with surgical precision. You report the incident, the words tasting like ash in your mouth as you explain the evidence, the Ether Global chip, the informant's last call. The analyst's disappearance, while regrettable, could be any number of things. Internal matters, personal entanglements. You're stretching, Brennan, connecting dots that aren't there. You push back, your voice tight with restrained fury. The pattern is undeniable. The art thefts, the market manipulation, now this. Ether Global is systematically eliminating anyone who gets close. The director leans forward, their gaze unwavering. Or you're seeing ghosts, Cole. Your methods, your singular focus, it's becoming a problem. You're chasing a conspiracy theory, a phantom, and in doing so, you're compromising the integrity of this unit. We have protocols. We have procedures. This off-the-books informant, this analyst operating in a gray area, it reflects poorly on everyone. The unspoken threat hangs heavy in the air, a noose tightening around your career. Back off, Cole. The director continues, their voice now laced with a steely warning. Let the proper channels handle this, or you'll find yourself on indefinite leave. They want you to quit. But the image of the overturned chair, the ether global chip, the informant's final gasp, these are not things you can unsee. You stand, silent, the director's pronouncement echoing in the suddenly vast space of the office. You are alone, cast out, but also unburdened by the very rules they seek to impose. You gather your personal effects, a sparse collection of notes and an encrypted data drive, the weight of the stolen chip a constant reminder in your pocket. Offshore. Office. A name, partially obscured by static, now clicks into place. It's a long shot, a thread you dismissed as too peripheral, too deeply buried in the financial labyrinth. But now, with official channels closing, it's the only path. Gaining entry requires a delicate dance of fabricated credentials and a well-placed anonymous tip to a junior administrator about a compliance audit. Inside, the hushed corridors smell of lemon polish and aged paper. The administrative archives, a room meticulously organized yet radiating an aura of suppressed information, is where your true work begins. You pass rows of filing cabinets, each drawer a tomb for countless transactions. And then you see it. A faded label, half peeled, on a locked metal safe tucked away behind a row of obsolete microfiche readers. The name matches. The safe is old, but its lock is sophisticated. Your fingers, trained for such tasks, work with practiced precision, the soft clicks echoing in the silent room. The tumblers fall into place. Inside, nestled amongst innocuous-looking corporate charters, you find it. A slim, leather-bound ledger. Not digital, but physical, its pages filled with elegant script. You open it, your breath catching in your throat. This isn't just a ledger. It's a meticulously kept record of transactions, shell companies, and asset transfers, all linked to Ether Global. Names, not roles, are scrawled next to immense sums. Real names, connected to real institutions, far beyond the scope of mere corporate espionage. This ledger details the systematic dismantling of global market stability, a slow, methodical poisoning of the economic wellspring. The scale of the impending collapse, laid bare in elegant ink, is staggering. Ether Global isn't just stealing art. They're orchestrating an economic apocalypse. And you, Cole Brennan, are the only one who sees it. The personal stakes have never been higher. The words still echo, a hollow clang against the steel of your resolve. Your spine stiffens, a rigid column against the weight of the system. You will not break. The next morning, a digital ghost flickers across your secure terminal. Noon. The air hums with an electric tension, a prelude to a storm only you seem to perceive. Inside, the lobby hums with a sterile efficiency. No reception desk, just a discreet sign pointing to a floor number. You follow the silent instruction, the elevator rising with an almost imperceptible glide. Fluorescent lights cast a pale, unforgiving glow on rows of polished filing cabinets, their steel surfaces reflecting distorted slivers of your own reflection. Empty offices line a corridor, their glass walls offering glimpses of pristine, unused desks, as if the entire operation exists solely to process the invisible. You walk past the silent shred bins, their gaping mouths promising oblivion to countless documents. Their presence a stark reminder of the delicate balance between information and its erasure. The air is thick with the weight of unseen data, of fortunes made and unmade within these quiet walls. Ahead, a single door stands ajar, a sliver of warmer light escaping into the cool, stark corridor. You push the door open fully. Seated at a sparse table, lit by a single focused desk lamp, is the former analyst. Their face is drawn, etched with a weariness that speaks of sleepless nights and gnawing fear. Their eyes, once sharp and analytical, now hold a haunted flicker, barely audible above the quiet hum of the building's ventilation system. You came. You reached out, you respond, your gaze sweeping the room. Taking in the locked safes built into the far wall, their heavy steel doors promising absolute security. What is this? What have you found? The former analyst leans forward, their voice dropping to an even lower register, as if the very walls possess ears. Ether Global. It's bigger than you know, bigger than anyone knows. The art heists, the digital assets, they're not the end game. They're just the tools. A shiver traces your spine, a premonition of the colossal truth about to be laid bare. You pull up a chair, its legs scraping softly on the polished concrete floor. Lean in, your full attention fixed on the trembling figure before you. Their true objective, the former analyst continues. Their words a torrent now, as if unburdening themselves of a crushing weight, is not just to profit from the system, it's to break it, to shatter the global financial markets, to trigger a catastrophic collapse. The air leaves your lungs in a silent gasp. Why? How could that possibly benefit them? Chaos coal. When the existing system implodes, they'll be perfectly positioned. They'll buy up distressed assets for pennies on the dollar. They'll control the new digital currencies. They'll dictate the terms of recovery. They won't just profit from the collapse. They'll engineer it, then rebuild the world in their own image. Your mind races, connecting the disparate threads, the Ether Global chips, the encrypted data, the precision of the heists. It wasn't about the art. It was about the digital footprints, the access points, the leverage they provided. The stolen digital assets were not just valuable, they were keys to the kingdom, mechanisms to destabilize the very foundations of global finance. They're not just criminals, Cole, the former analyst says, their voice laced with a desperate urgency. They're architects of a new world order, and they're almost ready. The final phase. It's imminent. This is a fragment, a piece of their project plan, coded, of course, but you'll see the patterns, the projections, the timelines, the determination that fueled you through the mockery of your superiors, the frustration of dead ends, now solidifies into a grim resolve. The stakes have never been higher. This isn't just about justice. It's about averting a global catastrophe. The world, unknowingly, teeters on the brink, and only you hold the fragile thread of truth that might pull it back. The cold plastic of the drive, a small, dark rectangle, presses into your palm, a tangible weight against the dread coiling in your gut. It hums with silent data, a repository of impending disaster. The world, as you know it, teeters on the brink, and the countdown has begun. The drive confirms it. A specific date. A digital guillotine set to sever the global economy. 3 days, 72 hours until the orchestrated collapse. Your apartment, usually a sanctuary of quiet thought, now feels like a war room. Screens glow with the intricate web spun by ether. The stolen digital art assets, once disparate threads, now converge into a single monstrous tapestry of market manipulation. You trace the lines, the unique digital signatures, the encrypted transfers, the shell corporations. The insider's data, painstakingly decrypted from the drive, paints a chilling picture. It's not just about profit, it's about control, a complete systemic reset. The art was merely a sophisticated key, unlocking access to the very arteries of finance. You see the projections, the simulated crash scenarios, the algorithms designed to amplify panic. This isn't a chase, It's a race against an invisible clock, the insider's last desperate breadcrumb. This office, nestled on a remote island, is a nexus, a crucial waypoint for the stolen assets before they dissolve into untraceable ether. You move with a focused intensity, your movements precise, economical. You feel the subtle shift in the air, a prickle on your neck that warns of unseen eyes. Ether's reach is long, its network vast. You've been followed before. You know the signs. The same model of sedan, parked too conveniently down the block, the casual pedestrian lingering a beat too long at the corner cafe. The air thickens with humidity as you approach the remote financial hub. Your fingers, practiced and steady, navigate the building's defenses. The lockpicks sing a soft metallic tune, a lullaby of forced entry. You move through the reception, past the logo of a bland, anonymous corporation, into the warren of offices. The shred bins are everywhere, gaping maw ready to consume secrets, a testament to the office's true purpose. You seek the specific department, indicated by a coded reference in the insider's files. It's a small, windowless room, its door unmarked. Inside, the usual clutter of a working office, desks, chairs, inactive terminals. But your eyes are drawn to the imposing steel of a safe built into the far wall. Its surface is scarred, bearing the marks of a previous, less successful attempt at entry. The combination from the insider's data is a string of seemingly random numbers, a sequence that clicks into place with a satisfying heavy thud. You pull out the ledger, its pages brittle with age. This isn't digital. This is physical, tangible proof. Your gaze falls upon entries, handwritten in precise looping script, dates, amounts, code names, and then the revelation, a direct correlation between the dates of the stolen art assets and massive, untraceable transfers of digital currency. And then you find it, a name, scrawled in the margins of the last page, almost an afterthought. Not a code name, but a real name, accompanied by a symbol you recognize from the early digital signatures of the first art heist. A name that belongs to one of the most respected figures in global finance, a titan whose public image is one of unwavering integrity. The ledger falls open to a page detailing the final phase, the precise sequence of events leading to the market crash, the trigger points, the fail-safes. It's a blueprint for global economic devastation, meticulously engineered. The date stares back at you, confirming the insider's terrifying prediction. You photograph every page, every entry, the evidence burning into your mind. This ledger, this physical artifact, is irrefutable. It connects the stolen art, the digital manipulation, and the orchestrator. But as you close the safe, a faint click echoes from the corridor outside, a sound that shouldn't be there. Ether knows you are here. The game just became deadly. You have the proof, but the race against time has just begun its frantic, terrifying sprint. The drive confirms it. The intricate web of digital deceit, the orchestrated cascade of financial ruin, all mapped out in chilling precision. Your mind, a crucible of algorithms and human instinct, races. The time for quiet observation is over. You dispatch a compressed, encrypted package of the drive's most critical indicators to the head of a global financial oversight committee. A man you trust implicitly, a ghost in the machine of bureaucracy who understands the language of impending chaos. Your message is stark, devoid of embellishment. Act now. Immediate intervention required. Source details follow. This is your first volley, a remote strike to awaken the sleeping giants. But the heart of the serpent, you know, must be faced directly. The city lights outside your vehicle blur into streaks of anxious color. You step into the building, a monolithic structure of polished granite and frosted glass, utterly devoid of warmth. A receptionist, a woman whose face is an unreadable mask of efficiency, directs you with a curt nod. The distant, rhythmic whir shred of industrial paper shredders echoes, a constant low thrum beneath the veneer of corporate calm, a sound that now seems to symbolize the destruction of truth. You are led into a spacious, stark office. Before you, framed by a vast window overlooking a distant, indifferent ocean, stands the architect of this impending collapse. His eyes, the color of a winter sky, hold no malice, only a profound, almost clinical detachment. He is the strategist, a name you've heard whispered in the deepest corners of corporate espionage, now revealed in flesh and blood. Cole Brennan. His voice is smooth, devoid of surprise. I expected you. Your grip tightens on the small drive in your pocket. You expected me to watch the world burn? He offers a faint, almost imperceptible smile. To watch it reset, rebalance. This isn't destruction, Detective. It's necessary demolition. The system is flawed, bloated. We merely accelerate its inevitable collapse to build something stronger, something we control. He gestures vaguely toward the window, as if encompassing the entire global economy. A new order. It's all here. You've been busy. But what good is a blueprint if the foundation has already been laid? The gears are in motion, Cole. The initial tremors have already begun. By the time your Financial Oversight Committee acts, it will be too late. The dominoes will have fallen. You underestimate the speed of desperate men, you counter, your voice steady despite the tremor in your gut. The data has been corroborated. The alarms are blaring across every major financial hub. Your inevitable collapse is about to be very publicly, very aggressively interrupted. You watch his face for any crack in his composure. There is none, only a deepening of that unnerving calm. A temporary reprieve, perhaps, he muses, stepping closer to a large, discreetly placed shred bin, one of many you now notice integrated seamlessly into the office's design. A minor setback in a grand design. You believe you can stop the tide with a single finger? I believe in the truth, you assert, and in the consequences that follow when men like you are exposed. You pull out your secure device. A message flashes across the screen. Confirmation. Global freeze initiated. Tracing source. Excellent work, Brennan. The relief that floods you is immediate, visceral. It's not over, but the first wave has been broken. You hold up the device, letting him see the message. The tide, strategist, just turned. Your grand design has been dissected. Your algorithms neutralized. Your digital assets frozen. The world is watching. He stares at the message, then at you, a slow, dawning realization spreading. The rhythmic whir shred from the hallway seems to intensify, a mocking soundtrack to his unraveling. He moves suddenly, swiftly, towards his desk, his hand darting towards a hidden panel. You think you've won? He snarls, the mask finally slipping. This is just one battle. The seeds of chaos are sown deeper than you can imagine. His fingers fumble at the panel, revealing a small, secure compartment within the desk. Your eyes lock onto it, then to the shred bin nearby. He plans to destroy something crucial, the final piece of his puzzle. Don't, you warn, taking a step forward. The air crackles with unspoken threats. This is the standoff, the climax. Not with guns, but with the raw power of information and the desperate scramble to control its narrative. The fate of economies, the stability of nations, all hinging on this sterile room, this silent battle between two determined wills. The world holds its breath, unknowingly, as the truth fights for its life against the grinding gears of destruction. Your hand, quick as a striking viper, clamps down on the director's wrist, just as his fingers, trembling with a sudden, desperate energy, reach for a stack of crisp, cream-colored pages. The rhythmic whir shred from the hallway is no longer a distant hum. It's a ravenous beast gnawing at the very fabric of this moment, its appetite growing with each passing second. You feel the tremor in his arm, a frantic pulse beneath your grip. His eyes, once pools of calculated calm, now flicker with a raw animal fear, darting from your resolute face to the documents, then to the closed door of the room. He tugs, a weak, ineffectual struggle against your unwavering hold. But your grip tightens, unyielding. You know what these pages represent. Not just the blueprint for the art heists, but the final, devastating sequence of trades designed to trigger the cascade, the cataclysmic collapse of global markets. The message you had shown him, a cryptic string of code intercepted from a dark corner of the financial web, had confirmed your deepest fears, aligning perfectly with the patterns you'd painstakingly uncovered. It was the trigger, the final instruction. And these documents, you intuit, are its physical manifestation, the step-by-step destruction. Your gaze hardens, boring into his. It's over. He lets out a choked sound, a desperate gasp. With a sudden surge of adrenaline, he wrenches his arm free, a surprising burst of strength born of desperation. He lunges, not for the stack of papers you now guard, but for a discreet button hidden beneath the edge of his desk. A silent alarm, perhaps, or a signal for a more violent intervention. You anticipate his move, your own body coiled, ready. Your foot sweeps out, a calculated block. He stumbles, cursing under his breath, his face contorted in a mask of pure fury. The papers, momentarily forgotten in his scramble, lie vulnerable on the polished mahogany. A sudden clang echoes from the hallway, followed by the hurried thud of heavy boots. The whir shred abruptly ceases, replaced by a sharp, authoritative command from a voice you recognize. Hold your position. The director is still a threat. A colleague, the one who had painstakingly tracked the digital ghost of Ether Global alongside you, stands framed in the doorway, his face grim, a team of enforcement officers fanning out behind him, their presence filling the opulent space with a stark, undeniable authority. They secure the room, their movements precise and efficient. The director sags, his fight draining out of him as quickly as it had ignited. He knows, you know, the game is truly, irrevocably over. You turn to the stack of papers he had so desperately tried to destroy. They are not merely documents. They are the full reveal of Ether Global's intricate, audacious scheme. Page after page details the synchronized high-frequency trading algorithms, the pre-staged digital asset liquidations, the coordinated misinformation campaigns designed to trigger a global panic. It's all here. The names of shell corporations, the coded instructions for the final market manipulation, the precise time frames for the catastrophic collapse. It wasn't just about profit. It was about power, about demonstrating the ultimate control over the world's most vulnerable system. The art heists were merely a sophisticated, high-value means to an end, a way to acquire untraceable capital and obscure the true nature of their intent. You pick up a single sheet, a diagram illustrating the cascading failures, a spiderweb of red lines converging on a central, terrifying point. The other figures involved, the analyst and the security chief you'd encountered in earlier stages, are also apprehended, their roles meticulously documented. The offshore law office with shred bins and locked safes becomes a bustling hub of forensic activity, digital specialists swarming the servers, evidence bags filling with hard drives and printed documents. Later, as the sterile light of dawn filters through the high windows, painting the opulent office in hues of gray and pale gold, you stand by the window, watching the city awaken. The immediate threat is neutralized. Yet, a profound disquiet lingers within you. You feel the victory, yes, a quiet satisfaction in averting disaster. But you also feel the immense fragility of it all. How close they came. The world had stood on the precipice unaware. The personal cost gnaws at you. It leaves a mark, a weariness that settles deep in your bones. The world hasn't physically changed, but your perception of it has. The game, you realize, is never truly over. It simply evolves, adapts, waiting for the next ambitious mind to find the next hidden vulnerability. And you, Cole, are now acutely aware of the ghosts that linger in the digital ether, the echoes of a near catastrophe, a silent promise of a changed world, forever altered by the knowledge of what almost was.